All right. Hey guys, so sorry, so sorry. We went so above the amount of time that we had, but it's such a great conversation. Thanks for joining back in. We have a couple more people I want to get up here. So jump in, jump in. Let's get that conversation going again. We just have a couple more people I want to get up and share their views. I hope you're getting a lot of insight about the Black experience. In America, it has many faces, as you can see, and it's important for us to have a conversation about that. So let me see if I can get Theo back up here and see if it's a possibility. And that way we can kind of finish with him and a couple more people that I think are going to be very, very crucial. Let me see, King Theo. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are getting a lot out of this. You know, like I said, get me some questions if you have any questions that you want to ask to anybody up here. Theo, you just joined. Okay, great. Let me get you back up here. And then we do have Black Mannequin and we do have Brandon Gaston, who are two people that I respect a lot as well that I want to get up here. I'm sorry for not keeping it down to 30 minutes, but this Black experience cannot be contained in just 30 minutes, unfortunately. But I see a lot of you are very engaged, so sounds like we're all getting a lot out of it. So Theo, story was very, very, man, it sounded scary, to be honest with you. So Theo, you up here. So you
I'm back.
mentioned, sorry to cut you off earlier, we had like 30 seconds left and I was trying to get you up here. So you mentioned you were still telling your story. You moved from Southern Oregon, right?
Yes.
And you said that one of the experiences that you've had there, I'm gonna let you retell the story because that was crazy to me.
It still feels like a movie at times, you know. So I went to perform at a 420 show out in what I would call the boondocks, like deep out there, no cell phone reception, whatnot, and we got lost trying to get our way back out, and probably for like an hour and a half, you know, another Caribbean artist and myself, and finally we took this one road, and going down the road it said dead end. So I was like, yo, I'm not gonna wait to the dead end to make a U-turn. Since it was a small narrow road, I decided to make a turn right there, and in my peripheral I see this light. So I'm like, yo, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, you know, like we drive closer and we see this burning cross on a tent.
That's
I
great.
can tell it like the biggest spitball I ever had in my life, you know. Like, my final thoughts was, here what? I know what my ancestors went through. There's proof, there's historical proof about it, so it may seem harsh, but I would have been one of those people that would have jumped off the boat, you know, instead of reaching here and doing that. So I said I had my legal firearm on me, I put it on my lap in case anything happened. I wasn't going down without a fight, you know, and in this modern day, it shouldn't be that, but it is what it is.
Right.
You understand? Like, it really is what it is. So after that experience, Southern Oregon was like this for me. I would just go outside just to perform or to support somebody and know the locations I'm going. I'm in America by myself. All my family is back in the islands, you know? I've been up here by myself forever since, so I limit my crowds, who I'm around. I know who is exactly next to me, the type of personality they are. And don't get me wrong, I have, in Southern Oregon, is mostly Caucasian friends that I have, you know? But, after experiencing that and seeing people's views on it, because I'm a very outspoken person, so I relate this on the internet. And seeing certain people's views about it, I had to take myself away, you know? So when this happened in this modern day, in this moment, there was no way I could have expressed the way I wanted to express marching in Southern Oregon. The thought of it was frightening. You know, like, after I left, I found out that down there was a KKK headquarters where I was living. You know, so danger down there in Oregon on the whole is imminent, but the march was something necessary.
Right.
It was definitely something necessary in Portland.
What did it feel like to be in the middle of that march, surrounded by, you know, a lot of people, surrounded by the communities? You know, what was the feeling of that? What was that sense that that you could if you could describe that?
it wasn't overwhelming. It was more assurance that we have fighters still, you know? Because when you look at the modern day artists, like I was just really into my homeboy Leo. Like the last artist that really stood up for us and was more than vocal was Tupac Shakur, and he passed away in 1996. You know, like for me as a creative, I can't just be a creative behind a microphone or in front of a stage to make people just dance and have a good time. You have to deal with the real matters at the end of the day. You have to be dealing with substance at the end of the day. So just to be out there, it reassured me when I heard this 17-year-old girl. She spoke, like you could tell that the ancestors were inside of her. You know, like she raised my goosebumps. Like the harsh reality is that a lot of youths today, their parents don't educate them on matters of black life. You know what I mean? On history. So to hear a 17-year-old girl talk so adapt about it, I was proud of her parents, her upbringing, and I'm proud of the future she's going to have.
Right.
You know? So the march, it showed a lot of things. It showed people who want to stand with us, who try to understand. It had people there who didn't want to understand, who came for the wrong reasons. But at the end of the day, the message was brought across. You know? Right. The harsh reality about it is that the police are really pigs, dog. Like, it was a peaceful protest when I was there, and while we were in the square talking, the police are throwing concussion grenades all around us to scare people off, to make people start to run. And once people start to run, it's going to look like a riot. You know, so it's difficult times that we are living in, but it's more than time for us to make that change, you know? Like, I think personally the begging has to stop. And we just have to stand up and make that change. You know, like, and as Marcus Garvey said, to liberate few, we're going to have to lose some, you know? And it's a reality that America forced upon us now, you know? So,
yeah. Well,
that's my stance with it, man.
I appreciate you sharing your thought, man. Again, as an artist, as a fellow artist, I work with you quite a bit, and I think that just doing art for nothing other than just art is empty. And I think that we need to use our voices, our platforms to bring people together, to have conversation, you know, to show how proud we are of where we're from in our art, to show people where we're from, because that's that's one of the ways that people will be exposed to the world. And so, this situation just shows how narrow-minded people sometimes can be. And so we have a duty as artists and as creative people to, you know, to expose and share other views. So
teach. Most importantly, to teach, you know? Like, we have to use our creative process or our pathway to help others learn and grow, you know? Yes.
Well, let's keep doing that. I thank you for, you know, being a part of the positive change.
Of course.
For responding to our call. I want to get to the LifeStyleist, Brandon Gaston, right now, and so he can also share his perspective. So
thanks for having me, brother.
Thank you, Theo. I'll see you soon.
Yes,
All right. So let me find Brendan. Brendan is somebody that I respect a whole lot, man. Brendan is a pioneer as well. Somebody that, you know, with amazing style, man. When we say, man, I'm not even gonna go there, man. Brandon, you know, you and I, we always talk smack to each other. We always talk style and all that stuff. Like, Brandon.
Yo, I told you I wasn't crazy, man. I just got back in town.
Well, where we at? In the cave?
Yeah, I'm in the P. I just got back a couple days ago. It's been about 24 hours.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, I was in Arizona. Can you tell by the tan? Can you see?
Okay,
I've been in Arizona for the last couple of months.
I like it. Well,
yeah.
Welcome, man. You know, this platform that FashionNXT is giving us, I thought, man, I have to get Brendan up here, because Brendan is when I think about Black African American style influencer, you know, your name comes up right away. So I was like, dude, I got to get Brendan on here. I want to hear your experience because, you've been here like what, all your life, right? In Portland,
Yeah,
Oregon?
yeah, yeah. Born and raised. Yeah. So I've been
So,
here.
yeah. So I wanted to hear your perspective. Like, what has been your experience as a Black person in Portland? How has that experience affected who you are? And, were there challenges as far as being who you are and being Black, as far as trying to do the things that you're doing? Because you're a trailblazer, to be honest with you. You do things that other people can't do. So how's your experience? How can you describe your experience?
Well, man, first, thanks for having me. And I appreciate the introduction. It always makes you feel when you hear somebody introduce you, you're like, man, is that really me? Um, but yeah, I mean, I've always say like, I come from a strong Black family. So even though I'm from the Northwest, I have a strong foundation of who I am as a person and my culture. At the same time, I have family members that's not from here. And so one of the advantages I will say is being African American male in the Northwest is the fact that I am comfortable in any environment, right? So I've been privy to growing up in the Northwest. So I'm now used to being the only person in a room. Unfortunately or fortunately, like I've lived that space. And so I'm comfortable. Is it different or is it a harder situation? Well, absolutely, because you got to realize, as you mentioned earlier, Portland's the whitest city in the country, right? When you are in a space where your audience or you're in a corporate environment or your audience is a corporate environment, it is even more prevalent that you are the minority, right? Because I'm literally anywhere I go outside of like a fashion or cultural outing, like for business, it's only me. I'm the only person that looks like me, sounds like me, dresses like me because I'm in fashion. And so I'm constantly aware of that. I also understand that there's a responsibility that you have, you know what I mean? That like, I always want to be the conduit or the bridge, you know what I mean? And be the representation of like, yo, I don't know what you guys see or what you're aware of or what you've been privy to, but I'm going to either change that narrative or reinforce a positive narrative. And so I've
Mm-hmm.
always been about that. And that's really been the motivation for me for even doing the fashion. I love clothes, but it's really being cognizant, understanding like, hey, there's a perception of what a Black male is. How do I position myself and how do I translate that in a different way and control my narrative as opposed to them placing their position on me? So yeah, that's kind of been my experience. I mean, but so it's different. It's different. I feel like just because it's constantly it's constantly on your mind. It's constantly in your face.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's different. I question sometimes if people are in my position. Again, I'm from here, so I've been able to adapt and navigate, and it's okay with me. You see me out, we're out. I'm smiling, shaking hands, and it's no big deal. And it's not like I'm there like, oh shit, I'm the only Black person in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But if roles were reversed, where literally they were the only person in the room, and it was a necessity for them to be successful within their career, I question how they'll be able to navigate that as I'm forced to have to navigate that. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, what you're describing, I feel every day, and I think
Mm-hmm.
what makes you special is that you tackle that angle from a position of strength,
I
and
appreciate that.
where you think about how am I going to dominate that situation. Not everybody is born with that kind of confidence. Not everybody
Yeah.
is born with the ability to just transcend that and just think about and keep that attitude, right? And so was there ever been a time when that pressure was too much, where you just kind of like have to reset and like figure out how do you get back to to keep that smile on your face, because they can't see you,
Yeah.
can see you dusty, right? They got to see you
Yeah.
fresh, right,
Yeah.
all the time. But that's exhausting, I can
It,
imagine.
it, it, man, it's exhausting. It's exhausting to have to be on your P's and Q's at all times,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the margin of error is different, and that's just the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, is it difficult? I'm super into energy and just being focused and not trying to like dwell on what's negative and the woe is me reality. Like I'm very attuned and I'm aware. Like I realize my perspective and what changed. And I think we talked about this when I had you on my thing, but it's like when I realize everything happens for me, not to me, whether it's fair or not,
Mm-hmm.
that's the perspective and the shift, and that's the way I think. And
Mm-hmm.
so even for me as an African American male in the Northwest, I'm like, yo, it's not fair. It's without question, it's not fair. I'm not naive to that fact. But because it's not fair, what it requires of me actually has to build me up as a person.
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the things I have to do that's more than because of because of my skin tone,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's not fair, makes me more of a person. And so I have to look at it from that perspective, because I look at it from the negative perspective, it will only beat me down. And
Right.
so yeah, I mean, absolutely. Is it hard? Is there times, you know what I mean? Is it like I said, the margin for error is way less, but that's life. And it's
Right.
like, how do I respond to it? Do I give it power, or do I maintain the power and overcome it? And so I've always been on the perspective of let me overcome it.
Right. Let me ask you a question, because like I think you and me would have very similar mindset, right? It's like, how do I deal? How do I play with the cards that were given to me and still win?
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, with the events that happened, my personal story was, it just started to make me feel so uneasy, like when, because there's a shooting of Ahmed Roberi that's running, and then there's, George Floyd, and so then it starts. I'm just gonna be real, like for being black, like it's like you just start to think. At some point, there's that moment for me where I was simply going to the store and I started to think, well, is this how they see me? Like, rather than just me just being who I am, right? At all times, like we are.
Yeah.
I start to maybe be more self-conscious. Like, is this how they see me? Is this, somebody smiling at me? Are they really smiling, or do you ever have these thoughts, or is that something that just never comes to your mind, or and how do you deal
Yeah.
with that?
Yeah, man. I mean, absolutely. Again, like I said, for me, the motivation, besides the fact where, like I love fashion and style,
Mm-hmm.
but again, for me, it's so much more than that, because I understand, like I said, going back to what I was saying, like how we're viewed. You know what I mean? Like my level of my ability to articulate myself, my ability to have conversation. I know if I present myself in a different way, I'll never get that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the same person, because I'm, African American, if I dressed a certain way or met the criteria of what they expected me to be, I would never have the opportunity to open my mouth, and they
Mm-hmm.
would never get to see who I am as a person.
Right.
So I'm constantly, like I said, my whole career is based on perception,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's always top of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also me understanding that I have the level of understanding that is the case.
Mm-hmm.
It's understanding for other people of color that be like, yo, you guys might not see that this really is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it is definitely, I feel like when this hit me, what was so disheartening was, again, I'm in Arizona, right? I'm trying to stay away from the COVID-19, so I'm out running in the morning. I'm like, yo, I can't run. You know what I mean? Like there was something I read that a black African American designer, Pierre Moss, right? Kirby,
Mm-hmm.
he was saying like everything we want to do as that we're passionate about or we enjoy could actually be a life and death situation.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about that and you think of, man, I'm running, like, yo, and I'm running with the hoodie on, right? You know what I mean? Then you see the issue that just happened, and you're like, that hit me hard. I think because it's like, it's not even a matter of, what the what may happen,
Mm-hmm.
but when you're seeing someone that you're just in the middle of the day, right? To have someone that has the level of arrogance and audacity to kill someone while they're being filmed
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the day, and that person's not doing anything,
Right.
it's like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even a matter of me not resisting, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not even a matter of me doing what I've been taught to do from my parents. It's not a matter of that, and that's not fair in itself. But it's like, even within that, I still
Right.
it might be a life or death situation. So that definitely hit me a little bit harder for sure.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, man. I mean, again, I think your experience is something that is so important to share. Some of the key points that I get from what you're saying is, dude, I mean, we have to stay on our toes at all times, right? And in order
Yeah.
for us to even, perform at a level where we want to compete with others, we have to always be on our toes. We have to, and so it can be exhausting. It is exhausting, like sometimes you just gotta unplug and go to Arizona. You know what I'm saying? you
Yeah,
know.
man. Yeah, I had to. I will say though, I mean, for me, I think what's been amazing with this situation, because I was coming from Arizona, I just got back,
Mhm.
and seeing what's been going on in Portland, like I feel like we should take the opportunity because it so often, like, we shit on millennials, right, or
Mhm.
Gen Zs about what they don't do or how they are, And it's like, to see that when I came back and to see the photos and everything and have everyone's come together, like, I took pride in that, and to see that the youth really are the ones that are going to be the ones making the difference. You know what I'm saying? I know other people that came on here, they've kind of echoed that same sentiment. But it's like, to see them, you know what I mean? And I also feel like, you know, I always feel like, you know, you have to go through it to get to it. Like, as Black people, we've gone through it for a long time, so I'm not saying that. But, like, I feel like it's kind of been an opportune time as far as the perfect storm of, you know, us being with COVID, so everyone's present, you know what I mean, and aware. And like you said, like Mike said, we all can march, right? You know, these things have happened, unfortunately, back to back to back, you know what I mean, where everyone's seeing it. As terrible as they are, it's like, okay, all these things are happening, and the youth stepping up as they have. It's like, it's thus far, it's been the most impactful and the biggest response across the board, across all cultures that we've ever seen across the world, right? And so in that aspect, hopefully we can just maintain the momentum and and continue and not let this, you know, wither away and just stay the course.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing your experience, your true experience and of what it is to be Black in Portland, Oregon, to have, you know, grown up here and to thrive, you know. And we have a question from a viewer, so I'm going to take a question or two before we close. So go ahead and
all right,
start to type your question. Let me invite over one of the viewers here. I want to thank you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You're
absolutely, bro.
We got to get the what was the summer thing we did? The
Drip Saturday, Drip
Drip
Saturday.
Saturdays. We got to get Drip Saturdays back, man, for real. So
yeah, man, we'll figure it out when this is through. We'll figure something out.
Yeah. So actually, we have a question from MDA Vana. So she said,
"Oh yeah, Devon.
Vana. Okay. So there's a lot of energy and passion with this movement. Any suggestions on how to best coach people about how to drive that energy towards positive action? What do you think?"
I think, man. Someone asked me earlier, and I actually made a video about it. I feel like everyone's walk and journey within this and their responsibility is going to be different, right? There's different levels. Everyone, like Mike said, some people are going to march. Some people are going to be the voices on the front line. Some people are going to be the ones that understand the legal system and understand that aspect, like Josh was talking about, right? So I feel like the main thing is to make it, you know, top of mind, right? Don't let it wither and don't let it stop. I think just getting people involved, keeping it in their face and making them, you know, making them aware, and then utilizing the people that have skill sets in the areas that they have skill sets in to affect that change. You right? Like, I don't know the legislation, but so I need someone that might be able to lead me in that direction so that I can then gravitate towards that and do my part, right? People that are putting up the post where you can actually sign petitions, right? I feel like everyone has their role. The main thing is to make sure that people participate. And I think the way we're going to make people participate is staying top of mind and just, you know, keeping the energy going and don't letting it die. You know what I mean? Like this is great. Like Josh said, like we're doing this is a great first step. Now, what's the next step? You know, I think it's all about, I saw something the other day, it was like, yo, don't react, respond. And so how do we respond in a way to keep the momentum going and actually make positive change? And, you know, I don't have all the answers, but I feel like we through numbers, we have the people in the right places that can do that and just keep on going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, man. I'm not going to take too much more of your time. We have a couple more questions. Let me see if I can invite one more person here before we close and ask a couple more questions.
Absolutely, bro.
Thank you again.
I appreciate you.
Thanks for being a leader in our community. Thanks for being an inspiration. Continue to do so and act responsibly. You know, you always do. So
always. Oh, we got to.
Yeah,
all right, man.
All right, buddy. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we have another question here. Let me see if I can. I want to invite actually one of you guys that is still here so we can answer that question together. So let me see who might we invite here. Let me get DJ Solo. I'd love to get DJ Solo up here, and DJ Solo is somebody that represents the African community in Portland. He does, you know, he's a DJ. He organizes events. You know, he's a part of that culture, man. And so, DJ Solo, welcome, buddy. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. How you doing, bro?
I'm fantastic, man. Thanks for, I see that you've been watching us and watching the live. So thank you so much.
Right.
So before
Cool.
before we close, I just wanted to make sure I get you up here, get your your take, because like me and you, we're from Africa, but we live here now, so we're part
Right.
of the Black American experience. And so,
Right.
um, I wanted to first ask you, how did these events affect you?
I mean, if you're saying the events, you're talking about the situation at hand, basically, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I I I had a few talks, with some people, and coming from Africa,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I haven't really experienced, you know, the whole the oppression.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the same time, I'm like, I do understand what, excuse me, African Americans who have been here for years and hundreds of years, you know,
Mm-hmm.
have been through. They've gone through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, coming from Africa who hasn't been through a lot, I'm easily to be like, oh, I haven't really been through a lot, so I can't really be a part of,
Mm-hmm.
be a part of the movement. But then that is where we Africans who have that mindset, you know, are wrong basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like together we march, together we voice ourselves out,
Mm-hmm.
we let everybody know where we stand,
Mm-hmm.
and just keep pushing because at the end of the day, we are all one.
Right.
Us Africans, African Americans here in America, if they did not go through all that, if they did not fight those fights years ago, I don't think most of us Africans would even be here in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I feel like together we stand, and I mean, it just sucks, that we have to let people know that our lives matter. It's like even just that statement. I'm like, like we are human beings. We don't have to explain to people that our lives matter,
Mm-hmm.
and for us to do that, it just it's very draining, man. I feel like together we stand. We just fight the fight. You know, just let them know what we want, and hopefully something great will come out of this. I know definitely something great is going to come out of this because it's like it's nationwide, not even nationwide, but
It's international.
it's international, right? It's
It's
spread across
international.
the
Mhm.
continents. So
Yeah.
it is about time that we all put our foot down, march together. At the end of the day, support each other,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and together, yeah, together we stand, united. We will move forward, conquer, and just be great.
Absolutely. I think,
Yeah.
being African just like you, I think that, what resonates with me is, okay, at the end of the day, man, like, if somebody is racist against black people, they don't
Right.
care whether you're black or whether you're African or whether, like, it could all be, it could be me, it could be you,
Correct.
laying on that asphalt, with a knee against our necks, like
Right.
and so we all have to definitely voice uh, our outrage,
Right.
and just, we can
That's
sit back,
right.
because like you said, like, being from where I'm from a place where I hadn't had to experience these things, right? So, and I moved
Right.
here, in 2003, and so, but now I'm a part of the experience, and I'm experiencing things. And
Right.
like I said, like, just recently I was going to the store and just feeling like there's
Right.
eyes, and I feeling paranoid
Right.
almost.
And actually, right. Like I mean, I was as you were talking, I was saying, I haven't really experienced that, but I think I have experienced some, because I used to live in Vancouver, Washington,
Mm-hmm.
and I moved to Tiger. I've been in Tiger for about 3 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and ever since like, I mean, I moved to the neighborhood. Just go for walks, and you go for walks. You have a smile on your face. It's a beautiful day. And one time, this gentleman in the neighborhood, I was walking with my son, and my son said hi, and he was like, "Oh, what are you people saying hi for?" He kind of said it in the jovial way, but it didn't really click, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So later on, I was like, okay, but I didn't really like
Mm-hmm.
just pay any mind to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then another time, actually, someone used the N word on me, and that was the first time someone's ever used that word on me.
Mm-hmm.
Like people say it, but and he was white, like literally on Capitol,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally had to stop in the middle of the road. Like I don't know what just came over me, but I was like, wow. So,
Right.
and that day, my whole day was literally like messed up. I was like,
Right.
I was so angry,
Right.
So it's like what African Americans, here go through. It's the oppression. It's just it gets to a point where enough is enough.
Right.
Where
Right.
the cup just spills over, and you have to voice yourself out, and
Right.
it's just sad. But
Yeah.
I know for a fact that when all this is over, definitely that change is coming,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not we don't just have to stop right there,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say we as blacks we just have to really keep supporting each other, like economically, physically, everything.
Mm-hmm.
We all have businesses and stuff. We
Mm-hmm.
all try as much as we can to support each other, and I feel like it should be something that should be ongoing.
Right.
We should keep supporting each other. We should keep supporting each other, pushing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Just encouraging each other, and that will be.
That'd be that's
Right.
definitely the thing. So a question from the viewers was what do we think about the fashion industry? And I'm going to actually generalize it to not just the fashion industry, but to any industry that you do belong to. What can that industry do to support the movement? I'm going to take that one, actually.
Right, you're right.
That one I'm going to take because I think that, if let's say you're in the fashion industry and you're part of, representing the fashion industry, in the fashion industry or the music industry and all these different industries are inspired by Black culture, then it's important to have Black representation.
Right.
And as we have seen today by our conversation, the different faces of the Black experience in America, those faces are diverse. And so, those faces are composed of African people. They're composed of African American people. They're composed of, people from various backgrounds that make the Black experience. And so to not generalize the experience as just one, or as just this is how people dress or this is how people look. Like people, of the Black experience look and dress and talk in very different ways. And so I think it's important to not only wait for people to be a part of it, but seek. So if you're an organizer of such events, it's to seek an equal and balanced representation of various forms of creation. So so that's what I think the industry can do. As creatives, as individuals, we got to use our voice and use those voices to create things that symbolize what we want to create, but also tell a story about where we're from. So I think that's important. And as viewers, if you're not going to those events to support, if you're not, voicing your voice, just even if you can't go there, if you're not doing that, then you're part of the problem. And so I think that we all have a role to play.
Exactly. That I do agree with you on that one. We all do. We just can't sit back and just watch others push the agenda, push the movement, support, while we just others sit back without doing. I mean, there are some people that might not be able to go out, go march and stuff, but still, with all these petitions, we are signing and all that, we all have to be involved, because it's a one, it's a bigger picture, not just
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
All righty, you're welcome, Issa.
All right.
Stay safe, be blessed, and
as well.
Catch you later. All right, bro.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So once again, to everybody that joined us today, this was such a good conversation. I really appreciate you guys coming to see, and you know, the different various faces of the Black experience in America. We've had COO of SEI, Self Enhancement Incorporated, that deals with the youth and supports our youth here. Her name is Libra Ford. She talked about, you know, her perspective, and that was amazing. We had a respected fashion designer today, Christopher Bevins, that, man, is inspiring and shared his insight. We had a pioneer of Portland hip hop here, Cool Nuts, that shared his insight on what community is about and the difference now today. We had Zito, you know, a great ally to our cause, who's always vocal about injustice, and so if you see something and you're white and you think it's, you know, and you know it's wrong, say something about it, you know, because that's very important. If you don't say something, you're part of the problem. You know what I mean? If you see somebody that's being, you know, killed on the side of the road by a cop, you know, you gotta say something. You know, you can't just sit back just because you know, you're in the security of a white picket fence, you know, so to say. No pun intended. But we have to be vocal. We had Brendan, the LifeStylest, up here, who is incredible as well. You know, such another pioneer of like style up here in Portland. You know, always on top of his game. We had Theo from Trinidad and Tobago, and talking about his experience. Like, he moved here and he lived in Salton, Oregon, on a tough place to be Black, to be honest with you, and shared his experience. Who else did we have? We had Mike Cage, my dear friend and barber, and you know, and he was a part of the march. And what did it feel like to be a part of the march, to be in the middle of everybody? So for all of you that, you know, maybe have not taken part, you know, that was hopefully that gave you some insight on how and why and what it felt like. So we have a lot of great people here. I just want to thank you guys so very much for joining, for your questions, and hope that was insightful. So hopefully we'll see you soon. I want to thank FashionNXT for giving us this platform to talk, allowing me to discuss my background, to share with you how I felt, and to invite some of my friends to also share with you how they felt. So let's keep supporting the fight. You know, don't be silent, man. Be a part of the solution by voicing, you know, injustice, because it could happen to you. You know, at the end of the day, this thing, what it's teaching us is that, man, this could happen to anyone. I mean, all of us. It could be you. It could be you. So, you know, it's something that has to stop now, and just make sure that you do your part by voicing this injustice that's going on, and let's all, you know, continue to grow together. So hope you guys have a wonderful night, and we'll see you soon. Bye.